When you think about summer camp, usually it's all, campfires, canoes, maybe first friendships, those classic childhood memories.
Definitely. Places meant for fun, getting away, kind of idyllic almost.
Exactly. But sometimes things happen at camp that aren't quite so sunny. We've been looking at some personal stories people shared online, experiences they had that were, disturbing.
Yeah, genuinely unsettling accounts. And today we're going to walk through a few of these stories, just lay out what these people reported experiencing.
We want to explore the details, the things that made these moments so strange or scary, sticking just to what was in these accounts.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so this first one takes place at a place called Camp Ernst back in 2010. The person telling the story was 13, there with their best friend, Keith, for 2 weeks.
Sounds like a pretty typical camp setup. Cabins, lodge, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Very standard, which makes what happened next feel even more out of place,
Right. Sets the scene.
So it's late, way past lights out after 2 a.m. The narrator and Keith are awake, playing Nintendo DS under the covers, trying to be quiet.
That camp behavior.
Totally. And then the cabin door just opens.
Uh-oh. Counselor check.
That's what they figured. So they quickly hid the games, pretended to be asleep, but then they heard footsteps
Okay.
moving around the room. From Keith's bed over to the narrator's bed. And then the footsteps stopped right beside them.
Right next to the bed.
And this is the part that really gets me. They felt, and I'm quoting here, the ever so soft feeling of someone breathing down my neck.
Wow. Okay, that's immediate physical proximity. Not just hearing something, but feeling it. Changes everything.
It's incredibly creepy. They were obviously terrified, just froze. Eventually the footsteps moved away, the door shut, silence.
Just lying there in the dark after that.
They looked at each other totally freaked out, thinking maybe it was just a counselor being weird, trying to rationalize it.
You'd have to try, wouldn't you?
So they actually went back to playing their DS, but with the brightness turned way, way down. And then something else happened. The narrator's phone vibrated.
A phone
Oof.
at camp. That's interesting. A modern element.
Right, and it adds this really bizarre layer. It was a text message, and it just said, "Why are you two still up?"
Okay, that is unsettling. From who?
Exactly. They had a list of counselor phone numbers, for emergencies.
Yeah.
But this number, it wasn't on the list.
Not a known number.
Nope. The narrator texted back, "Who is this?" But nothing.
No reply.
Just silence. So now it's not just a presence, it's a presence that somehow knows they're awake and has their number.
Yeah.
That's targeted.
It feels almost like a game or a taunt. They're already rattled from the breathing thing, and now this.
Extremely unsettling.
They tried to ignore it, maybe thinking it was a counselor pulling a very strange prank. Kept playing their game. But then they heard another door, the back door to the cabin, opened.
The back door this time.
Yeah. But this time, no footsteps. Just the sound of the door opening and then silence.
Quieter. Sneakier, maybe. And right after that, the phone vibrated again. Same unknown number.
What did it say this time?
This message read, "It's Counselor Tony. Come outside to the back of the cabin. I have something to say to you." Spelled counselor, like that.
Counselor Tony. Still the unknown number asking them to come outside. To the back, where the door just opened silently.
Keith immediately said it sounded way too suspicious. They're whispering, wondering if Tony was the one who just opened the back door.
Smart kid. It sounds like a lure.
The narrator, though? Maybe curiosity, maybe fear. They got up, decided to look. Keith was telling them not to, but they walked down the hall toward the back door.
Oh, boy.
Didn't see anyone at first. Got closer to the back screen door, and that's when they saw it.
What?
Near the door, a part of the wall, it was caved in, like broken. There was an actual opening there.
An opening in the wall itself?
Yes. And someone was hiding inside that opening.
Hiding in the wall.
Yeah. And as the narrator got closer, they realized it wasn't a counselor, not Tony, not anyone they knew. It was, and this is their description, an old, creepy-looking man about their own height, hiding there in the wall.
Okay, that's not a prank. That's a full-on intruder.
Yeah.
A stranger.
The narrator just screamed, "Help!" ran back towards the beds, which woke everyone else up, thankfully. As they ran, they heard the back door slam shut.
The man fled.
Seems like it. A counselor came running in through the front door, responding to the scream. The narrator explained everything, frantic.
I bet.
Counselors searched the whole perimeter, big camp, lots of woods around.
Yeah.
They never found the man.
Gone. And leaving so many questions. Who was he? How did he get the phone number? How did he know who to text?
The narrator's best guess was maybe he found a counselor list somewhere, but still, how did he connect the number to that specific kid in that specific cabin?
Yeah.
And the hiding in the wall? It suggests he knew the place, maybe.
It implies planning, or at least opportunity and knowledge of the building's weaknesses. The combination of the physical intrusion, the hiding, and the targeted texting. It's deeply disturbing.
The narrator also mentioned, sort of as an aside, that there was some camp history. Apparently an old woman, Miss Graham, used to work in the cafeteria and died on the grounds. Undisclosed reasons.
Miss Graham! Okay, file that name away. Seems separate from the man on the wall, but noted.
Yeah, just a piece of camp lore mentioned in the same account.
Yeah.
It's interesting, though. Keep that name in mind for this next story.
All right, story number 2.
This one doesn't name the specific camp, but it involves a really focused, unnerving sighting. The narrator couldn't sleep one night. Full moon. Room was pretty bright. Everyone else dead asleep.
Setting the stage again. Alone and awake in the quiet.
They finally just gave up trying to sleep, sat up in their cot, and they noticed the moonlight coming through a window across the room. It was blocked by something.
Blocked how?
They looked closer and saw a person's head. An older woman, wearing a red cap.
A specific detail, the red cap. Just standing outside the window.
Not just standing there. According to the narrator, the woman was looking right at them. Locked eyes.
Direct eye contact, that immediate sense of being watched. Very primal fear.
Totally. The narrator's reaction was instant, flipped over, pulled the covers up, hid, just like a little kid, as they put it.
Yeah.
Pretended to be asleep.
Understandable reaction.
Waited a minute or so, heart pounding, got up the courage to peek back. She was
gone. Relief, maybe.
for a second. But the room seemed darker, maybe a cloud passed, and they just had this feeling something wasn't right. So they looked up. Yeah. There was another window, this one directly above their cot, maybe 3 feet away. And there she was, the same older woman, in the red cap, looking straight down at them through that window.
Oh, okay, that's much worse. Across the room is one thing. Silently moving to be right above you, staring down. That's terrifyingly deliberate.
It implies movement that shouldn't be possible, almost. So fast, so silent, to a completely different spot.
And right overhead. Maximum vulnerability.
They just dove back under the blankets, absolutely terrified, shaking, didn't know how long they stayed like that, eventually just fell asleep from sheer fear and exhaustion.
What happened the next day? Did they tell anyone?
They did. They told an adult counselor about the woman in the red cap. The counselor listened, then looked over at 2 other female counselors who were there. And apparently, the adults exchanged these disturbed looks.
They recognized the description.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
Because one of the other counselors then said, "That's so creepy. That sounds exactly like Miss Graham."
Miss Graham, the same name from the first story's background info, the cafeteria worker who died on the grounds.
The narrator said their heart skipped a beat, hearing that name connected to what they saw. And even now, they say they don't know if it was a real person, something their mind cooked up, or maybe, just maybe, it was Miss Graham.
Wow. So the camp staff themselves immediately linked this specific sighting, the older woman, the red cap, to this figure from the camp's past. That really complicates things, doesn't it? Is it a ghost story fueled by camp legend? Did the staff's reaction reinforce a potentially imagined sighting? Or did this person genuinely encounter something connected to this Miss Graham figure? The red cap is so specific in the sighting itself.
It makes you wonder how much the history of a place bleeds into the present. You know, whether it's suggestion or something more.
Exactly. It layers the unexplained sighting with local folklore. Fascinating. It's the third story.
Okay, third one. This happened at a sleepaway camp in Pennsylvania. The narrator describes themselves as a shy kid back then. They made friends with a boy named Mike, described as short, blonde, always wore a Yankees hat.
That one camp friend you latch onto.
Right. And on day 1, during the initial tour of the camp, they noticed it. Off by itself, a lone punk building, made them bunk, that looked completely abandoned.
Ah, the forbidden zone. Every camp's got one.
Definitely. They asked the counselor, "Hey, what's up with that building?" And the counselor just shrugged it off, said it hadn't been used in years, no idea why.
Which, of course, just makes it 10 times more interesting to kids.
Absolutely. Fast forward to the last night of camp. Mike gets this idea. Let's sneak into the abandoned bunk, just for fun.
Oh, the classic last night dare.
The narrator didn't really want to, admits they weren't the mischievous type, but agreed anyway, to seem cool. Peer pressure.
Been there. So they waited.
Waited till everyone was asleep, counselors included. Then they snuck out ran across the grounds towards the abandoned building. Narrator says their heart was racing.
Nerves kicking in.
They got there. Front door was boarded up solid, confirmed derelict. But one of the windows was busted open already.
Of course it was, an invitation.
They climbed inside. Pitch black. Big building, apparently. Room for lots of campers, but freezing cold inside and totally dark. They had to feel their way around with their arms out, bumping into unseen bunk beds.
Just pure sensory deprivation, relying on touch and sound. Very disorienting.
The narrator stopped for a moment, trying to figure out where Mike was in the darkness. And that's when they heard a noise.
What kind of noise?
Bouncing, like someone was bouncing on one of the old, probably squeaky bunk bed mattresses.
That could be Mike messing around.
That was the narrator's first thought. They whispered, kind of loudly, "Mike's still messing around." But then Mike's voice came back from the complete opposite side of the room.
Oh.
Mike whispered, "That's not me. I thought that was you."
Chills. That moment of realization, you're in a dark, abandoned building, you hear a distinct, human-like action, and it's not the only other person who's supposed to be there.
Pure terror. They knew instantly they weren't alone. They both just freaked out and scrambled back towards that little busted window they'd climbed in through.
Escape mode activated. Forget exploring.
Mike got to the window first. While the narrator was waiting their turn trying to squeeze out, the bouncing sound stopped. Just silence,
Okay.
followed by a loud thump. As if whoever or whatever was bouncing had just jumped off the bed onto the floor.
A definite sound of movement. Landing. It knows they're leaving.
And then this is the peak moment as the narrator is halfway out the window, crawling through. They felt two hands grab their foot.
Grabbed. Physically.
Yes, grab their foot, trying to pull them back inside the dark building.
Whoa! That's direct physical contact from the unknown thing in the dark. That's a whole different level of terrifying.
Thankfully, they were already mostly out and managed to kick free or pull away. They scrambled out after Mike, and the two of them just ran, didn't look back. Ran straight to their own cabin, got inside, locked the door.
Adrenaline pumping. Absolutely terrified.
They talked about telling a head counselor, but decided against it. Why? Because they were afraid of getting in trouble for sneaking out in the first place.
The fear of rules overriding the fear of whatever that was. The narrator even notes looking back, that was a stupid decision.
Understandable in the moment, maybe? But, yeah. They just stayed in their locked cabin till morning, went home the next day, lived to tell the tale. But that feeling, the bouncing, the thump, being physically grabbed.
That stays with you, for sure.
So, looking at these three stories together, what are the common threads you see jumping out?
Well, the setting, obviously. The summer camp, isolated, often rural, places with history, maybe old buildings, that's consistent.
And the timing. Always late at night, when things are quiet and dark, and maybe you feel more vulnerable.
Definitely. Then there's that strong sense of intrusion, something or someone entering a space where they shouldn't be. Footsteps, a figure at the window, a presence in an abandoned building.
Being watched, too. The breathing, the eyes locked on the narrator in the second story.
Right. And in two of the stories, that escalation to physical sensation or contact, the breathing on the neck, the hands grabbing the foot, that takes it beyond just a spooky sight or sound.
It makes it immediate, personal, and much more threatening.
Absolutely. And the lack of answers is key in all of them. The man in the wall vanishes, the woman in the red cap is linked to a legend, but it's not definitive proof of anything. The thing in the bunkhouse is never seen and never identified.
That ambiguity is part of what makes them so unsettling, isn't it? No neat explanation.
Exactly. The mystery lingers. And you have these unique elements like the text messages in the first story. That blend of traditional haunting feelings with modern technology is really striking.
Yeah, the texting felt very deliberate, almost calculated to terrify. And the Miss Graham connection weaving between the first two accounts, even if just background in one and a potential identity in the other, it hints at the power of place, of history.
It raises that question for you, the listener. How much does the known history or folklore of a place influence these kinds of experiences? Is it priming the pump, or is there sometimes a genuine echo of the past? We can't know from these accounts alone.
So why do these stories resonate so much? Is it just the fear of the dark, or being away from home?
I think it taps into something deeper. That vulnerability, yes, but also the disruption of a place meant for safety and fun. Camps are supposed to be these contained little worlds, and when something truly strange or frightening breaks into that bubble, it violates that core expectation.
And the details are so vivid. The breathing, the red cap, the bouncing, the hands, they stick in your mind.
They do. They feel visceral, even just hearing about them.
So we've journeyed through these unsettling camp moments, these first-hand accounts of the strange and unexplained.
It leaves you thinking, doesn't it? What is it about these kinds of places? Summer camps, isolated spots, places with a bit of history that seems to attract or amplify these experiences. Is it just the environment, or is something else going on?
A question to ponder, maybe next time you're thinking about those idyllic summer nights.